If you had asked me 3 years ago where I'd be now, I would have said I'd be strolling through the park, pushing a stroller, sipping a coffee, holding my toddler's tiny sticky hand. Instead, here I am, standing outside a courthouse, gripping DNA test results, wondering how I became the unwitting star of a betrayal I never auditioned for. My name's Jake. I'm 33. Until recently I thought I was a father. Jessica and I married right after college. She had this spark, this creativity that made life feel cinematic. She was a Pinterest queen, planning our wedding, our honeymoon, even sketching out a nursery for a baby we weren't even trying for yet. I thought it was charming. Turns out she was just exceptional at crafting illusions. Our first 3 years were solid. The usual arguments over laundry, Netflix passwords, and dog breeds, but we made it work. In year 4 we decided to try for a baby. She got pregnant quickly and I was overjoyed. I downloaded baby name apps, practiced swaddling on towels, even cried in Target at a #OneDad mug. Felt real. I was ready. Then Lucas was born. Full head of hair, scrunched up nose, eyes that seemed to pause the world. Holding him felt primal, larger than love. For 2 years I lived as his father. Then came a letter from our insurance company. Something about Lucas's coverage, a discrepancy on the birth certificate. At first I assumed a typo, but then I looked closer. The last name wasn't mine. It was Kyle's. Kyle, Jessica's ex, the one person who always made me uneasy. She'd always called him a dumb high school mistake. She swore they hadn't spoken in years. Apparently they had one last time. When I confronted her, her face froze, then crumpled into tears. She admitted they'd hooked up right before we officially started trying. She said it was for closure. Then she found out she was pregnant and gambled. Assumed the baby was mine, but gave him Kyle's last name just in case. She never told me. Why ruin a good thing? The floor disappeared beneath me. I stared at our photo albums. Lucas asleep on my chest, giggling at the zoo, his first steps. It all felt stolen, like I was watching someone else's life. I got a DNA test. 0% match. I wasn't his biological father. I wasn't even legally his father. I was just the man who had been deceived, brilliantly. I moved out the next day, filed for divorce that week. The hardest part wasn't losing Jessica. It was losing Lucas. He ran to me every day when I came home, and I had to vanish from his life. No goodbye. Just gone. I tried to move on. Reminded myself I deserved better. Tried to find peace. Then 3 months later Jessica called. Her voice trembled, strangely hopeful. Kyle had vanished. No child support, no interest. And then she paused. She'd filed for child support from me. First I thought she was joking. She wasn't. She claimed that because I had acted as a father, I had created a paternal bond, and now legally had to pay. I read the court papers 3 times. My name right there. Being forced into obligations for a child I had no biological or legal connection to. A child I only raised because I was manipulated. In court it got worse. Her lawyer painted me as a heartless man walking away from family. I wanted to scream, laugh, both, but I just sat there. The judge asked if I had formed a parental connection. Said yes. Because I believed I was his father. 'Cause I was deceived. Her lawyer argued that Kyle disappeared and I was the only stable presence. Maybe true, but it wasn't my choice. I was never given a choice. A ghost in someone else's story. A stand-in, a reliable paycheck with a friendly face. The judge ordered hearings, psychological evaluations, character assessments. I started documenting everything. The DNA results, the birth certificate, Jessica's messages after I left, her pleas, Lucas asking for me. Felt like walking back into a trap. I didn't know the outcome. Maybe the courts would side with her. Maybe emotional bonds mattered more than biology. Maybe I'd pay for a child that wasn't mine. All I knew. I wanted to be a father. I still have that photo of him asleep on my chest. Wanting something doesn't make it real, especially when it's all a lie. I walked into that courtroom feeling like I'd been dragged into a burning house by the one who lit the match. But courts don't always care about truth. They care about stability, what's best for the child. Terrifying. Helpless. Then my lawyer found it. Jessica had signed the birth certificate alone. No consent from me. Fraud. We filed motions, collected every message, every document, every scrap of proof. Months of stress, anxiety, sleepless nights. Finally the court date arrived. The judge looked Jessica straight in the eye. "Miss Reynolds," she said, "this is unfortunate, but you created it. You misled your husband. Mr. Callahan is not the biological father, did not sign the birth certificate, and has no legal obligation to pay child support." That was it. No more court. No more pretending. I walked out feeling like I'd just set down a boulder I'd carried for years. Outside, Jessica tried to speak, tears in her eyes, voice trembling. "Lucas still asks about you. He says he needs you." I looked at her and said, "He needs his real father. You owe him that truth. I'm not part of this lie anymore." And I walked away. 6 months passed. Doesn't sound like much, but when your whole life has been ripped out from under you, 6 months feels like trying to piece your soul back together. I blocked Jessica, stopped checking her socials, even sold the couch where Lucas used to nap. Every glance at it felt like a ghost was sitting there. Therapy helped. My therapist, Linda, absolute legend, zero tolerance for BS, closet full of cozy cardigans, looked me dead in the eye during the first session and said, "Jake, you're not grieving a child. You're grieving the life you thought you had. That life wasn't real. That's why it hurts." She was right. What I had with Lucas felt real, but the truth beneath it was a house of cards built on lies. Moving on was brutal. Seeing dads play with their kids in the park was a gut punch in slow motion. Even baby commercials had me scrambling for the remote like I was dodging a horror movie trailer. Dating. Forget it. I went on one date. 15 minutes in, I blurred it. Technically, I was a fake dad for 2 years, like it was some fun anecdote. The poor girl sipped her wine like it was tequila and ghosted before the check even hit the table. Honestly fair. Then came the twist I didn't see coming. Month 7, grocery store. AirPods in, pretending I needed cereal, trying not to spiral into a TikTok rabbit hole in the Purdue section. Then I heard it, Jake. Froze. That voice. I turned around. There he was. Oh, that Kyle. Standing with a basket holding just a Red Bull and some sad-looking chips. He looked like he'd been living in a cave. Unshaven, pale shirt stained with mystery. "Hey man," he said. "Hey man." That's all he had for me. I didn't even speak, just stared. He started rambling, said he heard about the court, didn't know Jessica would go that far. Claimed he thought I knew because she told him she wasn't sure who the father was, but when I stepped in, he figured it wasn't his circus. I wanted to hit him or hand him a dictionary. Maybe both. He said he saw my post about the DNA test, that it shook him. I didn't know how to handle it. Then he looked down quietly. "They made me take the test. He's mine. Lucas is mine." I didn't know what to feel. Anger, bitterness, relief. But strangely I felt calm. But said he deserves that. And I walked away. That night I sat on my new couch, the one with no memories attached, and felt okay. Not perfect, not whole, but okay. Later, Jessica sent one last message. A long, emotional apology about regrets and how she never meant to hurt me. I didn't reply. I didn't need to. I wasn't that guy anymore. Not the man crying in his car in a Walgreens parking lot. Not the one begging a judge to unchain him from a lie. I was me again. A little scarred but whole. I even kept that #1 dad mug. Not because I earned it, not because I'm still a dad, but because it reminds me of what I'm capable of. Even when the foundation was fake, my love was real. And maybe someday when I become a father for real, I'll sip coffee from that mug, think back to the storm I survived and smile, because I made it through and I came out stronger.